Alright, welcome back. This is a review of Fruits Basket episode 10, or 2019 episode 10. So I am so happy with this episode. Like, this is an amazing episode. I am so glad it was animated the way it was. Oh, it was so good. And I'll get into it a little bit as I go on, but like, this episode, if you've only ever seen the original series, this episode is probably quite a surprise to you because none of this, like the very beginning portion of this episode basically happened in the original, but even then it was different. And then of course the second half of this episode dealing with Shigure never happened or at all in the original. So yes, I'm so happy that this got animated correctly. So kind of start off, I'll just kind of talk about how the original handled this episode. Now, the original, this was only, the whole Valentine's episode thing was really only half of the first of the episode of this, in the original series. Because they split it, they pretty much took the first half of this episode and made that the first half of the episode so they took they took the first half of the episode of the 2019 version, and pretty much that was what they had for the first half of the 2001 episode. However, there definitely some things were different and some things were left out, definitely. But then the second half of the 2019 episode did not exist at all in the original 2001, and instead the second half of this of the 2001 episode is actually going to be the first half of the next episode that we're going to see in 2019. The 2019 version. So, it's a little confusing sounding, but that's because in the original, not only did they completely leave out half of a chapter, but then they completely skipped over an entire chapter. So, and it plays out a little bit differently too, even what they did cover. So in the 2001 version, the episode starts right off with the whole Uo and Hana opening Yuki's locker and going, "Oh, where's the chocolate? Not volcano, avalanche." Because they were expecting that. It starts off with that and pretty much goes through all of that like they did in the 2019 version, and then it skips over to a girl giving Kyo chocolates in the classroom, him realizing that, oh, it's like close to Valentine's Day, in this case the day before, and then him trying to escape, and this is the one difference, especially right off the bat, is that instead of him running into Mayuko, or Shiraki, their homeroom teacher, and having to stay in school until the end of the school, until the end of the school day. Instead, in the original 2001 version, he just runs straight out of the school, and as he's trying to escape, he sees Kagura at the front entrance. So that's one big difference. So, but this is our first proper, which is disappointing because it's disappointing, at least for the 2001 side, because you never got to even get properly introduced to Shiraki, or Meiko. I like to call her Meiko, because like they completely changed their homeroom teacher to, like, they changed their homeroom teacher in the original to like the PE teacher. It was weird. It's like, whatever. But so the original, continue on. The original then goes over to them being at Shigure's house, and in this case, it wasn't Kagura trying to ask Kyo out on a date. It was, she was trying to give him like this big chocolate heart, and he didn't want to eat it. And she kept begging him and saying no. And then eventually Toru shows up. She's like, "Oh, I had little chocolates for everyone too." And then Shigure pipes in and says, "Well, a real man would just suck it up and eat the chocolate." And that's when Kyo finally reacts and goes on and he eats the chocolate that both Kagura was trying to give him and Toru was trying to give him. And then Kagura says goodbye, talking about, oh, Haru said that, you and Yuki are going to get along, or getting along better. That'd be great if you continue to do that. And then she leaves. And then that's where that first half of the episode stops in the 2001 version, because then it skips right into what should be the first half of next episode in the 2019 version. But as you know, of course, that's not at all how it plays out in the original, because obviously there's more to that chapter in itself. Them dealing with the whole Kyo thing, and then the complete second half of this episode dealing with Shigure. And I like the fact that I'm gonna go back. So now I'm gonna talk about the 2019 version. I like the fact that they added in the little Kyo's having a nightmare at the very, very beginning of the episode. I like that fact that they do that. Or here's another little comparison. Something that something, because this episode in particular had a lot of character development, and particularly in a lot of foreshadowing of things to come with Shigure and Kyo, for that matter. And I guarantee, even if you've seen the anime before and you think you know what the foreshadowing is about, you probably don't, because some of this foreshadowing isn't for stuff that is for much later on in the series that the original anime never even covered. So, and then of course there's little things like small little character relationship development, such as in the original it was Shigure that pretty much had to convince Kyo to be like, oh, to eat the chocolate. It was what Shigure said that finally pushed Kyo over the edge to eat the chocolate that Kagura and Toru were trying to give him. But in their manga, and then obviously in the 2019 version, it's actually the fact that Kagura's trying to ask him out on a date, he's refusing, and then when she brings up the whole double date concept, I mean, even Yuki's like, hey, wait, don't bring me into this, but it's Toru who's, she gets super excited, and she's happy, she's like, oh yeah, can I actually really go on a date? I've never been on one before. And that's what breaks Kyo. He goes, okay, fine, I'll give in, we'll go on the date. That's what breaks Kyo. It's a completely different reasoning as for why he gives in to Kagura's demands. And then, of course, there's also the entire thing of, after Kagura leaving, and Shigure's like, hey, this is, Haru's right, you and Yuki should try to get along more. And Kyo says, I don't know why everyone keeps saying that. I don't want to get along with him. I hate him. I like hating him, And then Shigure kind of definitely gets a little irritated and is like, well, I think you're just hiding. I think you're just lying, because you say that as if you're obliged to hate him, as if it's your duty, as if you have to hate him. And that I think you're really just scared to find out what's going to happen to him. Not happen to him, but I feel like you're scared to find out what it would be like to actually get to know him, because whatever it is that you're hiding by hating him, you'd come to realize if you got to know him that you can't hate him for that reason, and that you're just hiding something from yourself. And that's when Kyo freaks out. And if you've read the manga and you know what's happening, there's you can definitely catch a little glimpse of something that's going on. And there, you'll definitely be able to tell. And then, of course, Kyo runs off, and then Toru comes up and is like, she sees him off in curled up in a little ball in the woods, and she's like, she brings him back and is like, hey, listen, she just talks to him initially, and she's like, listen, I know I want you guys to get along too, but if hating him allows you to be able to be yourself for right now, then just do that then. And I can't stop you. And of course she realizes that just like Yuki is very delicate, Kyo is also someone who is very delicate and is hiding things that he has yet to be able to deal with. He hasn't dealt with these issues, just like how there are some issues that Yuki has that he still hasn't dealt with yet. And then of course it skips over to Yuki and Toru and Kyo and Kagura the next day going out on their double date. And it's funny because you'd think an episode dealing with Valentine's Day, because in most other romance series or other slice of life, whatever kind of series, normally you get a Valentine's Day episode and it's all goofy hijinks, usually dealing with like the main love interest, all freaking out and whatnot. But in this case, the main concentration of the episode really wasn't anything dealing with romance. Yeah, he had them going on a little double date, but the main concentration was Kyo in the first half of the episode, and then the second half of the episode is definitely Shigure. And discovering that he's not the comedic, lovable, goofy, wise but perverted guy that he's been assumed to be, especially in the original series, because the original series completely cut any form of his more darker side out. Like, I think they still maybe left a couple small hints in there in the original series, but, like, they definitely did not have this where it's like, no, you really get to see that he is a much darker character than he lets on, because he straight up admits when he's talking to Hattori that, yeah, he doesn't mind hurting other people. He doesn't care, pretty much he will do whatever it takes to get what he wants, even if it's hurting someone, or even himself for that matter. And he's pretty much the ends justify the means, meaning that no matter what it takes, no matter who gets hurt or how, he doesn't care as long as he gets the end results that he wants. And so it's interesting because you finally actually get to see a much darker side of Shigure and see that he's not just because he can still be the, kind of happy-go-lucky, somewhat perverted, wiser, older character, but you see that, no, he's not just that archetype, that he does have a much darker side and that he is doing something, but you just don't know what it is yet. And that he doesn't, he still feels bad sometimes when he uses Toru, as he says, because, he sees her and he goes, she really is this innocent girl. But at the same time, he goes, I still want my means, the ends that I want to get at are still more important, and I don't care if I do have to hurt her in some way. I hope I don't, but if I have to, I will. And then, of course, you also get the little dream sequence with Shigure, and that he talks about when he was a kid, that he and Hattori and another character, if you've never seen this series before, had. That made them cry, and he said that as for the other two characters, yeah, it was something that became hard. It was something that became that dream became something that was painful for them. But for him, he still loves that memory. He still wants to keep that memory going, or that dream going. And so for him, his means are whatever it is that he's trying to do, that he got inspired from by that dream that he had. What they all had, that he actually, in a sense, loves. But again, this is, and then of course at the very end of the episode, we get to have our first introduction to Mitsuru, who is Shigure's editor, who he likes to bully a lot, you could say. And she's not going to appear too often, but she will appear a little bit here and there. And she's a fun character. But I am so glad that they covered this episode the way it did, because this episode was one of the big ones that needed a lot of to really be covered properly, and they did it, which I'm so glad. I think for the most part, in terms of anything else that's going to be super different from the original, from the manga itself, that's how, or any upcoming, I don't think there's anything upcoming, at least from the next episode or two, that's going to be super different than from what the original anime portrayed it as, because of course this is probably my problem with the original series, was that there are some episodes, a good chunk of the episodes, they animated pretty much spot on, and then the other times where they just didn't at all, and this is one of the episodes where they completely messed it up. And so it'll be a little bit before we get our next big thing that they messed up on, or even a small thing that they had messed up on, that they left out or whatever. But other than that, that's really about it. So thanks for watching, and bye for now.